Hey guys, what's up? It is week 296, and I know the videos have been getting shorter. I've been busy with the holidays and everything, lots of stuff going on, lots of changes in my life, or just a lot of stuff going on and everything like that. So I guess we're just going to hop into the update or the reviews or whatever the hell we're doing right now. And the first one up is going to be from Arrow Films, and this is a double feature of Angela Mao. And the first one we're going to talk about is Lady Whirlwind, I believe from 1972. And yeah, this one looks it's a pretty cool film. I'm not too familiar with it. I believe it's a Fortune Star flick. You know, it's either like one of the big two companies, right? Like, what was it, Golden Harvest or like Shaw Brothers, one of these deals. So Lady Whirlwind from 1972 follows the story of what was she basically the main character is looking for I don't want to spoil it because it's kind of like a reveal. She's looking for this guy who you supposedly think is dead and murdered in the very beginning. So like you're following her looking around this town. There's a bunch of goons and villains, and you actually start to think that she may be here to avenge him. But as a push comes to shove, you learn that there's another girl that witnessed all the things and witnessed the murder, and it's a little bit more complicated than that. The back of the box kind of spoils it, but I'm pretty sure most of the people picking up Lady Whirlwind kind of know what's going on or know how it works and everything like that. So essentially, you learn that she's basically out for revenge against this man who's also out for revenge. So it creates this weird, complicated kind of deal where she's waiting for him to complete his revenge because she has honor. And so she can basically take her revenge. But of course, you know, he has his hands full with the goons and everything, so she has to kind of partake in helping him. It's pretty complicated. It's pretty good. I mean, it has a lot of good bad guys in your typical kind of martial arts kung fu movie, Chinese film of the time, Hong Kong film of the time, where we have all these different kind of villains and bad guys that are set up well. Lots of good fights in like bars and stuff like that, and like restaurants. It's a really solid one, and not too often do you see like this badass of like a female kung fu expert. You see it occasionally, you know, some of the Shaw Brothers movies would have like one or two characters there, but the main focus being one is a little different, a little, you know, unique, and I thought that was a nice touch. As far as the special features are concerned on Lady Whirlwind, we have a brand new 2K restoration from Fortune Star, then we have the original Mandarin language and English dub, and we have reversible sleeve featuring newly commissioned artwork by Ian Sheedy. So that's basically, let me see, sorry about that. We have a commentary by Frank Jin and Robert Bobby Samuels, commentary by Frank Jin and Michael Worth, commentary by Sam Deegan. Lady Whirlwind Speaks, the first part of a newly filmed interview with Angela Mao. Kung Fu Cooking, a newly filmed conversation with Mao's son, Thomas King. Alternate English credits, Hong Kong theatrical poster, plus U.S. theatrical trailer and radio spot, image gallery, all that stuff. So lots of great stuff on the first disc of this. It's a double disc set, so they're not on the same one, which is really nice. But anyways, Lady Whirlwind, I did quite enjoy it. I'm not sure which one I like better. Sammo Hung is in here, so that was a treat, and he plays kind of a goon baddie. The bad guy in this one is also a female, so it's kind of like a female-heavy kung fu film. So I would recommend checking this one out if you're into that. And the fight stuff is really great as well. Okay, so the second one in the set is Hapkido, also same director, I believe, of Lady Whirlwind, same stars. Actually, it has Sammo Hung in a bigger role here. So essentially, this one basically is a period piece that takes place when Japan, I believe it was like kind of like taking over a lot of countries. So they took over Korea, and they're basically forcing Japan on Korea. And there's a group of Chinese students that are in Korea, and they're learning Hapkido, which is a Korean kind of martial arts. So they leave Korea because they end up killing a couple like Japanese people that are bad. Some in a pretty cool fight scene in the very beginning, due to Sammo Hung's temper, and he's the temper guy in here. So essentially they go to China, and they learn that Japan is kind of muscling in on China as well, and there's a whole big village of, you know, schools and martial arts schools, which is very typical in kung fu films. You have multiple schools, and there's going to be a school versus school dynamic going on here. So that's kind of what unfolds, and at first they try to be respectful and kind of blend in and just teach Hapkido to people and heal wounds and everything. But the Japanese people are tyrants here, the Japanese martial arts school, and they're just awful. And there's some real brutal scenes where they're like in this like open like this wet market, and they're just like beating the crap out of people and taking their stuff. And it comes to a top when one of the baddies dumps like hot oil on this poor woman, and Sammo Hung has had enough. So you see what I mean? Basically, it's like these three teachers of Hapkido that have to face off against the Japanese, you know, martial artists. But the Japanese always have tricks up their sleeves. They call in goons. They have actually some really tough guys. But this one's entertaining as well. Of course, Angela Mao is the leader of the group. group, and she's the toughest, and she's the last one standing, while the other ones are either hurt or put out of commission. Seriously, yeah, this is a really fun one. I actually think I prefer Hapkido. I think it's a little bit more memorable. I think that Sammo Hong has a great character in here, and I just like his mixed martial arts style because he's a big guy. You don't typically see a big guy move like that, and the way he uses his body is always very effective. So as far as the special features are concerned, we have 3 options of English dub. So you have the vintage Kung Fu, and the Hapkido dubs in lossless mono, plus 2006 DVD dub in 5.1 surround. Commentary by Frank Jin and Robert Bobby Samuels, commentary by Frank Jin and Michael Worth. Lady Kung Fu Speaks, the second part of the newly filmed interview with Angela Mao, archival interviews with Angela Mao, Carter Wong, and Sammo Hung, and Wen Bian. Original vintage featurette showing Jang Hai Jae teaching the lead actors Hapkido, newly restored in 2K by Fortune Star. These 3 alternate opening credit sequences, textless English and US, Hong Kong theatrical trailer, plus US theatrical trailer and TV spot. So it's a really nice release. It's quite enjoyable. Like I said, good bad guys. All these like kung fu or martial arts movies are very similar from the 70s. They have great bad guys, good choreographed fighting, training montages. And one of the training montages in one of these movies, I believe it is Lady Whirlwind, comes really late. It's like they're like, we need 20 more minutes, and like so they introduce this old character to teach this guy, and you're just like, that's probably a little late to come in there. But anyways, it's a great release from Arrow. These are 2 movies that I wasn't super familiar with, so it's nice to see them in a remastered edition. If you like kung fu flicks or anything like that, I think you guys will enjoy these. Okay, the next one here is from Mondo Macabro, and this is a haunted Turkish bathhouse. That is a mouthful, from 1975, and this is a Japanese film. Is this a Nakatsu? It's very much a Nakatsu film, I believe. Sorry about that. So yeah, it's a Toei, actually, which is kind of surprising because it's very explicit. So essentially what we have here is, again, a period piece. This one's, I think it is a period piece. It has to be, right? It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But anyways, what we have here, it might not be because you have Yakuza and stuff like that. Hard to tell. Well, that's kind of a lot of these old Japanese films. You're like, is this a period piece? What period time is this? Yada, yada, yada. Because some of the like sets and like, not sets, but like houses and stuff look a little older than you normally would think. So essentially what we have here is this woman marries this, loves this guy. They get married. Everything is great until a group of gangsters breaks in and starts beating him, saying he owes X amount of money. She decides to she basically was a prostitute before, but now they banished prostitution and they kind of moved everything into bathhouses, and you get massages, basically still the sex acts and everything like that. And she's walked away from that life, but after her husband has his trouble, she has to step into the life. And that's when you realize that her husband is actually an awful, awful piece of crap. And it doesn't end there, and it gets to ridiculous levels. As you can tell, we have some hauntings going on, but it's unique because it is a haunting movie about revenge beyond the grave. We incorporate a cat, which is very similar in a lot of Japanese kind of horror films, or Hong Kong or Taiwan if you've never seen them. I know from 1980 I watched a bunch where they incorporated like a cat in there, and the hauntings and everything. And if you go back, you have Kiriniko, the Japanese one. So there's like a cat element to a lot of these, I believe Kiriniko's the one with the cat element. A lot of these kind of Japanese or Asian ghost stories. So essentially what happens is, you learn that these people that are running this Turkish bathhouse are absolutely horrible. And, what they did is they kind of gave somebody an Edgar Allan Poe, one of the main characters, treatments, the Costa Maniano deal. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, and a lot of the movie is, somebody looking for revenge and kind of staking the whole area out. But there's tons of sex scenes, there's tons of nudity, there's tons of soapy, sexy bath time. There's a lot of double crossing, there's a lot of shady dealings, and of course at the very end, it does not disappoint. It does turn into a haunted Turkish bathhouse. That's exactly what happens. It gets pretty over the top, pretty crazy. Lots of really good imagery at the very end of the film. Lots of bonkers imagery, really cool stuff. As far as the special features are concerned, we have, brand new 2K restoration, but we also have interview with Patrick Messias, author of Tokyoscope, the Japanese cult film companion, introduction to Toei horror films by Patrick Messias, audio commentary from Sam Deegan, that's always great, trailer exclusive new cover art from Justin Coffey, optional subtitles, Mondo Macabre preview. Yeah, this one does get gory and gets a little wild at the very end, but it has a lot more sex and more sexy time than I expected, at a small short runtime of 82 minutes, that it does take a little long to like kind of build up the ghost story here, So anyways, I would recommend a haunted Turkish bathhouse. This one's pretty good. 1975 is a strong year, a cool year, unique year, especially for Japanese cinema, it seems. So yeah, check this one out. Good stuff. Now we're going to hop into a couple 2022 movies, kind of the last hurrah. This Friday we shoot our top 10 of 2022 on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. And this is, let me say if I can say this, basically Lux Æterna. And this is a Gaspar Noé movie. It's 51 minutes long, and this was put out by Yellow Veil Pictures. This is the second movie that Gaspar Noé had released in the States. This was made a few years back, but I don't think it got a United States release until this year. So Lux Æterna, this is on Shudder if you're interested. Now it's listed as a horror film, and you know how Gaspar Noé's films are horror films. They are and they aren't. Think Climax, think Irreversible. Irreversible, it has that element, and they all seem to be like these borderline cult films. And they have the weird shooting technique, the disturbing kind of crazy split screens at times, and just the nauseating sound mixes and repetition in colors and patterns and lights and strobes. That's very much what he's known for, to make you uncomfortable physically and with the story inside itself. So this one basically, in the beginning, they're watching this. They show the scene of a witch burning in this classic film, and they say that she was up there for 2 hours while they were making it. And this is kind of like a look behind the scenes of film about witch burning, or if it's not film, it's very bizarre. And it stars two kind of familiar characters, like genre actresses. It has who are the names? The one who's in all the Lars von Trier films, and then Beatrice Daly, who's in stuff like Trouble Every Day, and she's in a lot of French films. She's got the big gap between her teeth. I mean, she's very memorable. Both the actresses in here are two of those stunning people that are very, very fearless actresses, and they always do a really strong job. So seeing both of them in here helped big time. There's also a couple familiar faces. The guy from Watcher was in this. He's also in Gaspar Noé's Love. He's in a couple of Gaspar Noé's movies. He's in this one as well. And so basically what we have here is just the ultimate set. I guess it's saying filmmaking is hell. Filmmaking is it's just a mess, but also at the very end it can create something beautiful or something hypnotic or whatever it is. So essentially what we have here is Beatrice is an actress, and she is directing this film. She's directing the other Charlotte actress. What the fuck is her last name? Sorry about that. I have to look at her name. It's going to drive me crazy. Charlotte Gainsborough. Sorry, I have from Nymphomaniac and Antichrist and all those stuff. Great actress. I didn't want to mess it up. I love it. It says thank God I'm an atheist on here. Who said that? Benuel. I know. One of those famous French or Italian directors said, I can't remember who. Thank God I'm an atheist. But essentially what we have here is just this completely. Maybe he directed the original film this is based on or whatever. It probably would make a lot of sense. I probably should watch the supplemental material, but sometimes you're a jackass, and it happens, right? Or maybe Pasolini said it. Don't know. Anyways, I've been really slacking lately because of time constraints, but I wanted to squeeze this one in. So essentially, what happens is the ultimate chaos on a set. The director is losing control of herself and losing control of the film, while the DP is doing whatever they want, while the producer is threatening to fire everyone, while we have journalists sneaking on the set, running around trying to ask people questions, other people trying to cast their film, other actresses and bit actresses and stand-ins, and everything's going wrong. The lighting is freaking out and turning this weird hypnotic craziness. Everybody's having panic attacks. Somebody's trying to call home and something happened. It's just insane. It's intense. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of arguing. And to top it off, we go straight split screen, so you're seeing two different angles sometimes of the same scene, and then sometimes we'll see that character leave the frame. So it's very disorienting, and that's kind of the whole thing it's going for. It's this kind of recreation of disorienting stress and insanity, and basically making a film can turn into a horrible, crazy, weird, wild, vivid experience, or it creates something beautiful. It's I imagine Gaspar Noé is going for something like that, and it's a really interesting, cool looking, beautiful film with great sound design, and it's of course shot well. I mean, and the camera works impeccable and weird and just exactly what you'd expect from something from Gaspar Noé. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I don't know if I'd call it a horror film. It's definitely genre, and it's definitely going on the list of films that I watched considered for top 10 of 2022. I mean, as far as I really thought it was good and interesting and weird enough to be included in a watch list. I don't know if I would put it in my list or anything, my top 10. But yeah, anyways, it's a nice release from Yellow Veil Pictures. It looked really solid, and you can watch it on Shudder if you would like. Okay, the next one up. Not necessarily a horror movie, but horror adjacent, and this is Violent Night, starring the lead guy from David Harbour, from he's in Stranger Things, he's in the new Hellboy, and directed by Tommy Wirkola, who directed Dead Snow, Dead Snow 2, Hansel and Gretel, Witchfinders, and even The Trip from last year. All four are really fun, good films. You know what? I'm starting to think, I don't think this guy's made a bad movie, to be honest. All his movies have been entertaining for me or very enjoyable. So Violent Night is no different. Essentially, it's Santa Claus and Die Hard. What if Santa Claus was real? Sorry, kids. And alive and delivering presents, I should say. And what if essentially he was in a house that terrorists were invading and he had to stop them? What's really cool about Violent Night is it's written and made by people that love action movies and know what they're doing with action. I think Josh Miller was one of the writers on here. He's on a podcast. He wrote like the Sonic stuff. He's really smart with this kind of stuff and had a lot of interesting to say. I've heard him on a couple podcasts talk about this movie. So him and his writing partner did this. I can't remember his writing partner's name. Sam? Is it Sam? I can't remember. So anyways, this movie here, Violent Night, it's just a lot of fun. It opens up kind of, it has like, of course people are saying it has the good whimsical Christmas feel, but it also has like the hardened action, and it just never loses its tone. You know, it's kind of silly, but also kind of action paced and violent. So it's a hard thing to do, hard mixture to do, but it works, I think, really well. So David Harbour is Santa Claus. He's getting sick of everything, you know, the grind of delivering gift cards and money for everybody and just eating stale cookies, and you know, he's become an alcoholic Santa Claus. This might be the last year that Christmas is here. So basically he is delivering to an ultra rich family who are kind of like, you know, ungrateful. A lot of them are, you know, they have like the typical Krampus, you know, dysfunctional family, but they're super brilliantly rich. Think Ready or Not family or something like that. So basically the mother, the matriarch of the family is Beverly D'Angelo. Obviously, you know, Christmas Vacation, the Vacation movies. So it's a nice touch to put her in that position. And the young daughter seems to be, the granddaughter of her seems to be like the only one that's actually any decent in this family, to be honest. So John Leguizamo is a terrorist and he hates Christmas, of course. So him and his like international group of terrorists, they definitely follow the Die Hard pattern. So like they pick all these terrorists out who all are, you know, like super unique, and they look like unique looks, and they all have unique personalities, and they all stand out, and all have their crazy little Christmas names and everything like that, which is always a great touch. You don't want nameless bad guys. So all the baddies basically are here, and they all invade and kill all the security and everything in violent ways, and it's up to Santa Claus, the last man standing, to save this family and save Christmas and learn what the Christmas spirit is again. So there's a lot of nice touches. Of course, there's shout outs to Home Alone. How could there not be? And you know, like I said, the action is good. The bad guys are good. There's these great fight scenes, and the thing I like the best about the fight scenes is they incorporate this set with them. So like if you're fighting in like a Christmas tree, when you're a Christmas tree, somebody's going to get an ornament broke on their head. Somebody's flying through the Christmas tree. Somebody's getting strangled with the lights. They just do that stuff really well. They definitely make it very Christmassy in its action and violence, and that's very fun. Violent Night is a blast. It's a really entertaining movie. I think most people will enjoy it. I think most people will get a smile and get a kick out of it. Very easy watch, very entertaining stuff. Violent Night. Okay, the last 2022 movie that I'll be covering is The Menu. That's right. I had to check this one out. There was trailers everywhere. And, you know, I was getting tired of seeing the trailer, but I had Ray Fiennes in it, John Leguizamo again, you know, Anna Taylor-Joy. So Nicholas Hoult has a great cast, seems fun. And, you know, I've heard this pop up on some top 10 lists, rightfully so. It's really good, little kind of darkly comedic. I would say horror film, more dark comedy than horror. But basically all these people are invited to this elite dinner, and Nicholas Hoult brings Anna Taylor-Joy with him, and basically they're going here, and he's obsessed with this cook. This cook has like a cult personality. It's an isolated island. There's just surrounded by dicks here. John Leguizamo is an awful actor that he based off Steven Seagal, apparently. He has a date, and there's three like kind of like business jerks there that are younger, and there's an old man and his wife, and it's just a very bizarre situation, and they start to serve the food, and Nicholas Hoult is like this obsessed foodie. He knows everything, and he's so into it, and so annoying, and so weird, and like as it progresses, you're like, he is acting so strange, and a lot of these people are acting strange, but as the movie goes on, you learn exactly what's happening, and it all fits. Now, a lot of people said they thought this was going to turn into a cannibal film, because there's a lot of cannibals this year, Bones and All, Fresh, other things like that, but this one is different, and it's fun, you know, and I've heard people talk about it on F This Movie, but I also saw some things about it too. The very ending with the final dish served, or the final food, well, one of the final foods served, it's just very obvious, you know, like it's not obvious in a bad way. It's just telling you essentially sometimes, you know, all the fancy stuff is not what the people really want or really need. Sometimes they just need something simple. Sometimes they just need, you know, something garbage to fill their mind and just relax and have fun, to not take it so seriously, to just enjoy something for once in your fucking life. Just enjoy it. Don't overanalyze it. But this movie is very funny in the fact that it does kind of overanalyze it, or it has fun with the over kind of analyzing and like I would say like metaphors and stuff like that when they're talking about just the food dishes, and they pop up and they explain every course, and then every once in a while they get a little cheeky with it and they'll say something else in there, or they'll say what's in the gift bags. It's just very funny in that aspect, and the characters are funny, and the dialogue is strong, and Ray Fiennes is so good in this. He just seems completely unhinged in the best way and the funniest way, and his speeches are great. And when the people start to realize something's wrong, their interactions with each other, it's well shot. There's no complaints about it. It's just one of the most well-made, funny films of the year, and it's got something to say, but it also has something to say at the end too, which kind of, I don't want to say negates it, but proves what it's doing. It's having fun with the subject matter, and then at the very end, it shows you what they're kind of getting at in a lot of ways. And some people compared this to, I think it was after this movie, they compared it to the film industry, how you could, the director's son. But I see that, but you can compare it to anything. And I see just the generalization at the very end is just a smart way to do it. I'm not generalization, but just, the simplicity of what is served is just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's kind of the perfect thing to happen. Anyways, I would really recommend checking this one out. There's some really great moments with John Leguizamo, such a douchebag, and there's kind of I don't want to spoil anything, like I said, because it's a relatively new film, but very entertaining, very funny. A movie about elitists that we don't like. Of course, that's very common. Eat the rich kind of story. Everybody hates rich people now, and of course, most of them suck. So most people suck, and rich people, a lot of them are going to suck too, even more so. But anyways, The Menu, I'd really recommend checking this out. It's on HBO Max and whatnot, or the Hulu HBO Max thing, or you can buy it, I think, in the mid-January, or rent it for like $20 in the 3rd or something like that. I think, what is it? Today's technically the 5th, so yeah, you can rent it the 3rd. So, The Menu. Okay, next I'm going to do the Patreon pick, and I believe this is from 2010, 2011. It's a Scandinavian film. I always say Scandinavian because I'm never sure if it's Norwegian or Swedish. I believe it's Norwegian. And this is Headhunters. Now, I didn't really know anything about this one, and just by the cover, I was like, oh, is this an assassin movie? Is this kind of like a really crazy, nasty, like hitman movie and gory? And I was kind of getting that vibe, but it's completely different. Basically, we open up, and there's this guy who's like, I'm 5'5", and he basically explains what he's doing. He's stealing this art and switching them and then like selling them. He has this elaborate plan, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. But he actually works for like a security firm, so he can sneak into these places. And you start to learn his MO. And he has a wife that he adores, but at the same time he's terrified of her, and he's cheating on her and all this kind of thing. And one day, he's planning his next heist and all these things, and he's interested in this guy who used to work for another security company. And he's looking, the way he does it is he acts like he's doing a vetting process to hire somebody, but then he's really getting intel on them so he can rob them. So, but this guy is a little bit more than he bargained for. This guy might have some tricks up his sleeves as well, where he used to work and what he used to do before he did this and during he did this. So it becomes this crazy cat and mouse game involving murder and criminals and just intensity and double crossing, and it gets really intense. There's some really crazy set pieces, one of which involves a semi truck and a mountain, one of which the way it unfolds is very intelligent. The script is smart, the acting is really solid, and I think that most of the characters are interesting enough in here too, although the lead character is not exactly a likable guy. By the end of it, you start to root for him a bit, and I did enjoy that. But anyways, I thought it was really well done. I thought it came together well. I know it's a very short review, but the more I talk about it, the more I will spoil it. But there's even some funny bits about it, and there's like a good point of predictability of how this guy predicted other people's, how they would act. And you know what I mean? He couldn't always predict exactly what, but I can predict what other people are going to do or whatever. You rely on what other people are going to do. It's just smart, and it's clever, and it comes together really well at the end. I would really recommend checking out Headhunters. I don't think anybody would really be disappointed with it. Like, the violence is strong when it's there, the action is intense, and it has like comedy beats, I would say, a bit here and there. But yeah, it's a good film, and it's completely wild. So Headhunters, check it out. Okay, guys, let's get these questions, comments, concerns, all that good stuff. So, Ken Coakley. I was lucky enough to meet Ruggero Deodato at the Rock and Shock convention in Worcester, Massachusetts. His table's next to David Hess's table, so I totally geeked out. A friend, Mike Baranos, worked at the Deodato's table. Mime Barnas, I know that Baranos, I know the name, sounds familiar, I think he read books, made the documentary Para Lucio Fulci Remembered. There we go. Mike, what does it say? Mike, Ruggiero, and I talked for a while. Ruggiero was really cool despite Robert Kerman's opinion otherwise. I went to all the rock and stock conventions, and the most fun I had was the 3-year time frame when the Italians came. My best friend lived in Italy, and she told me about greeters outside restaurants. Then at the different rock and shock, Octavano dell'Acqua acted like the greeter at Al Cleaver's table. That is the lead poster zombie. He comes from a long line of stuntmen. They all look alike. They're all stuntmen in Zombie. So that's the guy he's referring to. The three of, and Al Cleaver, however you say it, is the actor in Zombie. The three of us talked for hours. I never met an Italian actor, director, film composer that wasn't really nice. Liam 89th, I remember watching your videos back in 2008. Happy to see you're still making them. Thank you. Milo 169, had Piggy and Spine and Night on my radar, but I wasn't 100% about them. Now I'm going to check them out ASAP. For sure, check them out. They're good. Thank you very much for the reviews. No problem. Nick Moore, happy 2023. I hope the year's off to a good start for you and yours. I appreciate you're still here doing this week after week in these crazy times. Much respect. Another good news, Second Sight is releasing George A. Romero's Martin on Blu-ray and 4K. Pre-ordered it, of course. He says, questions. Which 2022 film were you very stoked but disappointed you in the end? The remake of the reboot of Hellraiser. It's not bad, just not what I was looking for. My own problem. Still doesn't mean I was disappointed. Can't help my feelings. Anything in 2023 that you'll die or kill for to see? Not necessarily, to be honest. I mean, there's probably a couple I'd like to see. I'd like to see Maxine, the third in the Ty West trilogy. What's your favorite Stephen Lang performance? For me, it's either Freddie Lounds in Manhunter or Fred Paris in VFW. It's got to be Ike Clanton in Tombstone. Law just don't go around here, law dog. Heard you the first time. Winner to the King, $500. Shut up, Ike. Ike Clanton, man, he's great in that movie. He's like, I got no gun. Yeah, he's really good in that movie. I'm the one who got cheated. He's just a perfect buffoon. He's brilliant. Underrated performance, too. I mean, there's just... Tombstone's it's tons of great performances. Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Michael Biehn, Stephen Lang, Thomas Hayden Church, Billy Bob Thornton, Terrence Stamp. Everybody is in that movie. Everybody. Charlton Heston. Just even for a second. I mean, it's a brilliant movie. Not Terrence Stamp, Terry O'Quinn. My bad. Terrence Stamp is in Young Guns. And Terry O'Quinn is in Young Guns and Tombstone. There we go. But Terry O'Quinn, I mean, just a small role there. And, yeah, I mean, Paul Ben Victor's in the movie. Everybody is in that freaking movie. And they're all great in it. They're all wonderful. Jason Bovey, love Spine of Night. It really reminded me of animated flicks I saw in the 70s, 80s. By the way, have you seen Exnordium? It's an animated short on YouTube made by the same filmmaker that uses some of the same story elements from Spine of Night. No, I have not. I'll have to check it out. Sherlock Horror, Happy New Year, Mr. P. Happy New Year to you as well. Ilk Vomit, I was looking forward so much to Spine of the Night. I really wanted to love it, but it was very mediocre to me. See, I ate it up. I heard mixed things, but I ate it up completely. When will the Shawscope Volume 2 set start to be featured? I'm not sure if I'm going to go through the whole set. I want to, but I just time constraints. A couple will pop up. I got to watch Boxer's Omen. So, you know what, guys? Let's hop into that update. Oh, you know what? Guys, shoot me your top 10 horror films or genre films of 2022, and I'll make you guys a list out of everybody's list and compare it to mine when I do it. So, what is your favorite 2022 horror films? You can do 1, you can do 5, you can do 10. No more than 10. I'll rank them, and each point, number 1 gets 10 points. Please rank them for me. Number 10 gets 1 point, and I'll rank them all for you. So, let's hop into that update. Alright, let's hop into this update. First up is Accion Mutante. This finally showed up from Severn Films. Not finally, it was actually pretty quick. Thought it'd be later. It's a 4K. Directed by Alex de la Iglesia, who did stuff like, Day of the Beast and Witchin' and Bitchin'. Great director. I've actually never seen this. This is his first film. It's supposed to be pretty wild stuff. First really American release of the movie, but very cool stuff. Accion Mutante. Yep. Severn's been doing really well lately. Very impressed with their output in films. Then we have some partner label stuff I picked up at the end of the year before my subscription, my yearly subscription here ended. The Cornshukker, and this is from the VHS Shitfest or whatever the label is. Newer label from them. This looked super bizarre. I hear it's like SOV, David Lynch or some shit, or Eraserhead. I don't know. Sounds super bizarre. Looks super bizarre. Had to grab it when I could get it on sale. We have Blood Hunter. It's another one from VHS Shitfest. He's taking a bite out of crime. Another SOV. Looks super bizarre and super weird. This label, I think, is going to be one of the weirder ones. At first, I was like, I didn't grab the first two. I miss slipcovers. I don't really care that much, but I'm just glad to have the releases. Good price on them, too. And then we have Satan's Menagerie, and this is supposed to be really freaking weird. Also VHS Shitfest, see vampires, demons, ghouls, and Satan himself. A horror film suitable only for adults. Ooh, we got monsters and whatnot. And I heard Brian Sauer talk about this on his podcast, Just the Disc, and it sounded really fucking weird. Yeah, this looks like a weird movie. And I think there's a bonus film on here too, a whole new bonus film. So that's very cool. I think there is, yeah, a short film. So this looks really weird. I guess it's like a Universal horror style with gore. Sign me up, right? And then these movies look super weird from Agfa. It's Fuck the Devil and Fuck the Devil 2, Return of the Fucker. Such classy names here. Now, like, these look so weird. I was so iffy. I sat on these a while. I was like, do I want to order these? These look like low budget backyard do-it-yourself fucking German splatter, Polish splatter, whatever the fuck. But I decided to go ahead and grab them. I don't know. I don't fucking know. They look super weird. You know, Agfa Bleeding Skull, man, they release the weirdest shit sometimes. Just so off the wall. And last, from Yellow Veil Pictures, Faults. Heard lots of great things about Faults, so I finally picked it up. Not seen this one yet. Heard good things, and I know it was a Patreon pick, so eventually I'll draw it out and watch Faults. But yeah, let's hop back to the video. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a good one.